So the next panel discussion has a very interesting topic, and that is how to move from a multicultural makeup to interculturally inspired mindset. It is moderated by Ms. Susan Kruger, who is intercultural consultant Sukanawa. I welcome Ms. Susan Kruger and hand over the mic to her along with our three panelists, Dr. Hedy Badavi, Mr. Wayne Lee, and Professor Gadha Ikut. I welcome you all to this amazing panel discussion.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mahaba, Mulu, Sabuvona, good morning, good day, good evening to everybody. It is an absolute pleasure and an honor to be part of the summit with so many amazing people sharing our knowledge and experience. And it was absolutely fantastic to hear so many stories already. We have now 20 minutes and 5 minutes for Q&A to share our thoughts on how do we move from a multicultural makeup to an intercultural inspired mindset. So let me introduce our panel. We have Dr. Hedy Badavi, who works as an inclusive leadership coach and mentor and is on various global boards for and African Australian women empowerment networks. Heidi, would you like to share your focus of your work?
Thank you, Susan, and thank you, Mais Koshin, for the great opportunity to speak to the lovely audience about this lovely topic. I have more than 20 years experience in inclusion leadership, and especially from the education perspective and how we nurture it from very young age up to tertiary education, how to be inclusive in our science, differences in communities as well, social communities. So I will be speaking about my experiences in education sector and the inclusive sort of embedding it deeply into the minds, and I'll be action oriented as much as you can. I will give you some stories, some real stories. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Then we have Dr. Gadha Ikut. She is professor of HR and OB and works as a deputy president of strategic affairs at the Arab Academy of Science, Technology and Maritime Transport in Egypt. Gadha, would you like to share your focus of your work?
Hi, Susan. Thank you so much for this. And thank you, Mais Koshin, for inviting me for this speech. I'm going to be so quickly. Thank you. Yes, as you told me, I'm professor. I'm working in the academy, but I'm just going to introduce myself from the inclusion and diversity part. So I'm Egyptian woman, working woman, wife, and mother. And I got my education in Britain. In 2001, I got my PhD. And I'm working in the Arab League organization from '93, which is Arab League, you know, different culture, different people. I traveled and transferred and I work in different countries. But my research is since the '90s was talking about teams, and then teams and culture and teamwork and people. I started to realize many cases concerning the team and the work and team diversity and how to make these people work together. So I started focusing all my researches from this 90s till now on how to make the employees successfully working in the organization for the sustainable development of the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. Thank you. And Wayne Lee, he is a South African diversity and inclusion practitioner, storyteller, and author with an enormous wealth of field experience. Wayne, would you like to share your focus?
Good day to all, and thank you for the opportunity. Having lived in and around the Johannesburg CBD my whole life, and being part of a very diverse mixed race family, I believe that living an integrated, diverse life is about going on an experiential path, step by step. And my mission and passion is facilitating ideas and processes to get us onto this path of discovery and diversity.
Fantastic. True, I agree. Thank you so much. And I may also introduce myself. My name is Susan Kruger, and I'm South African by choice. I'm an interculturalist with my own company, and my focus is on to assist people to unleash their minds so they become more successful in any uncertain and any challenging environment. And that includes self-awareness and adaptation of one's own thinking and behavior. And most importantly, on the impact to become more inclusive. As I believe that inclusion, whether in teams or companies or society, can only be fully achieved when we know ourselves, we know our impact, and we practice self-inclusion. So thank you for the introduction, and let me just share with you, so we're all on the same page with regard to terminology. Let me just share with you my screen. Quickly. So I can't share. Saloni? Right, that was supposed to happen. Okay, Saloni, can we share the screen quickly?
Almost now, you can share the screen, Ms. Susan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Right, so just quickly, we're talking about moving from a multicultural makeup to an intercultural inspired mindset. So multicultural for us is people with different backgrounds and mindsets, right? So that is already diversity, a mixture of differences. And intercultural would then be the dialogue between those different mindsets. And inclusion is the mixture of different people managed with a growth mindset and cultural intelligence. So you're probably asking yourself why we're showing fish. And for me, the ocean is, that's where the fish belong, as inclusion is also most probably about belonging. That's why I choose that analogy. So let me pose the first question to our panel. Looking at today's VUCA world, so the globalization, the migration, the health concerns, social uprising, artificial intelligence, there is a lot of uncertainty out there. And on the other hand, we know that 85% of success is about people skills. Question is now, do we have the right mindset to face those challenges and, most importantly, foster inclusion? May I hand over to Ghada for that question, please?
Yeah, thank you, Susan. Yeah, you were talking about the mindset and if we need to change and to make the people make this kind of shift. Let me start by what you have said right now concerning the globalization and the work environment that we are facing and the skills and the shift that in technology and in the skills that we need for all people to be in the organization. And as I'm focusing and caring about people, honestly, so we need really to understand in our organization what their values and norms and beliefs that they do have concerning their perception of things before thinking of making the open dialogue between them and others. In reality, in organizations, we have lots of people working. You cannot choose people similar to you only and feel that these people are just the people that I'm going to work with. But in fact, you have to understand that you are unique and they are unique as well. All of them are unique, but we need to make it work together. It's like if you put a puzzle together and you would like to make every part of this puzzle sitting or completing with each one to make the whole picture as a management people in the organization. So we need to focus on the inspired mindset to make them transform their life in the organization. We need the people to work being happy in the organization. How can we make this? We would like to give them the learning, the acceptance of others, knowing others and knowing themselves. And also we have to give them the way to respect others. I might have different ideas than any other person, but we have to learn that the dialogue should be respecting, because this will be transformed in our behavior inside the organization. We need to trust our leaders and our managers as well, and this is all will make us start the dialogue together, not being closed mind. We have to be an open-minded, and we need this because definitely we are working with this kind of globalization, technological aspects, IS, everything, information technology, artificial intelligence, now everything. So we need to feel the success in our organization and healthy employee. I normally focusing my research is on how to make the employees working in healthy environment and healthy, to be healthy people, then sustainability will be in. I know that we have to finish quickly, so thank you for this.
It's true, and you raised some very important points about the value and belief systems, which are the basic, and happiness, which is also checked. Everyone wants to be happy in the end. Wayne, what are your thoughts?
Suzanne, in a South African context, considering the intensity of apartheid, white privilege is very strong and apparent still in our country. When only 8% of the South African population has that white privilege, 92% don't. They don't have the privilege of being able to walk into a shop and being presumed innocent. And the myriad of other issues, be it the banking system that's not set up in their favor to buy a property in their suburbs that they'd naturally like to live. It's very complex. When 92% of your population is yearning for that equality, by understanding it and redressing it, you are uplifting the bulk of the population. So in a South African context, you could actually, for just economic reasons, you could create an economic boom. I mean, China boomed in the last 20 years with 300 million people needing a stove and a TV, and basically rippled through the world in terms of increasing the middle class. It's got to be seen as a win-win. And that's over and above the humanity of it all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's raising the issue of inequality and difficulties of actually achieving inclusion. Yes, thank you. And Heidi, what are your thoughts on this?
I feel it's time for action, and it's enough talking, and it's time actually to take real action. And the actions will be taken by having new notions. I was so thrilled to listen to Darren and Suzanne and Maysoon at the beginning, speaking my heart. It was their heartfelt messages of actions, even with the little kids at the school doing the experience by themselves and experience this in action. So I think action like the summit itself here, and have more building capacity and raising awareness about diversity, in looking at different aspects in life through the new lens of diversity, it's really important. Stop saying it's emotional intelligence. It's a time for rising the notion now to say it's a diversity intelligence. I want you to leave this summit by saying we will build diversity intelligence. So it's enough actually having the same tools we have over and over for years and saying it's emotional intelligence. It's time to bring international mindedness. It's time to bring international collaboration. I think the big test for the all humanity nowadays, with what's happening as a major disruption for all of us, that the only thing taking us out from any disruption is the unity of global sort of diversity actions. The first thing I do in the morning when once I actually get up from bed, seeing my friends from all over the world, how they actually cope with the tragic happening in their country, and the best measures in place and the best practices in place. So it's time for a strong education to nurture international mindedness, diversity to the max. I love actually the flavor of the recipe as well, to add to it kindness, gratitude, and the ethics, which we unfortunately forget about, which is the basic sort of inherited character in us all. It's the unifying language. We've been saying we need a universal language among us all. We need something unifying us, not diversing us. So if we're looking at unifying language, it will be gratitude, kindness, and basic ethics embedded in our blood. We are diverse within ourselves. In our body, we have different cells. As a scientist with a science background, on a microscopic level, I know that my hand, it doesn't look like my leg, it doesn't look like my face, but they all in harmony together in a diverse way of universal job. So let's make our job universal despite all our diversity differences. Thank you.
I love the point you made about language, the diverse or the unifying language, because language is so important as it fuels our thinking and then behavior. Thank you very, very much for that. So that's the next point. So how do we really shift? How do we help others and shift our own mindset towards more inclusion? What are your thoughts on that? Wayne, would you like to start?
Sure. Thanks, Suzanne. I don't believe a new 1 hour diversity talk will necessarily be the whole silver bullet. The solution has to be experiences, and for starters, micro experiences. A little chat to your friends, your child's friends' parents who come from a different background from yourself, and then inviting them for a dinner or a lunch. In South Africa, most white people over the age of 35. Now, apartheid finished 26 years ago in statute. Most white people over the age of 35 have not had 3 black families in their home for dinner in 26 years. Now, that's a staggering lack of integration, okay? Well, when 92% of our population is not white, and it's a real mixed flavor in terms of South Africa. Sharing meals, for example, together around a table is where you learn people's stories and struggles. It's the opportunity to truly create, to create that connection, which enables an understanding and a deeper empathy to our different realities. Multiple exposures and experiences is truly the answer. Until then, we will sadly remain in the dark. We need to go through experiences.
Yeah, completely agree. Beautiful. Heidi, what do you think?
I think, as you said before, Suzanne, it's creating the mindset, and the mindset coming with a huge mind shift. And this mind shift, it's changing the ordinary work. We've been trying different things for the last few years, and it's as it is. We're still advocating for diversity. It's, again, as I said, it's time for actioning and not talking. It's enough of the talking. It's time to stand behind universal frameworks. Something like SDGs, it's maybe look like a business model, but for me, it's actually more than a business model. It's unified agreement between all the countries around some concepts, which is really deeply needs to be disseminated in different ways. It needs to be heartfelt. It needs heart set to it. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And thank you, Wayne, for actually explaining this to us, because we don't have to reinvent methods. We may have to do baby steps in systems already exist and modify to help us and serve us to the best way. So my way, I actually try to, in the different networks and social networks I am in, try to embed it from very early age, at the age of 3, speaking to mothers, actually to embed the international mindedness in their kids' minds, and to start to have extensive reading in this area, start to have sessions like this talking about how important to talk about diversity and embed it more in our curriculum. Our curriculum actually showing a gap and lack in this area. And I feel that we going in loops here in circles and going nowhere. And I'll give you a quick example by UNESCO. The latest research by UNESCO in having a mind shift in education worldwide, when they actually try to fix it and they try to find the magic formula, they have 300 researchers from all over the world. So they ask the Finland experience with this and that, how to cope with it. They ask different actually countries who excelling in science, for example, like Singapore, how to do that. And they came with a framework. So it's time actually to do the same on a micro scale, as Wayne said, in our talks, and have our voice very loud and goes loud by such events like this one. It's really important and crucial in promoting for inclusion and leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Rada?
Hi, Susan. I'm happy that I'm talking now after Wayne and Heidi, because I'm going to complete the picture. We didn't plan for that, but it will be completed, the picture. Heidi and both of them talking about how can we make this kind of shift, and they focusing about how to reach it for people. So I'm going to start for this. I'm going to focus on my role in 3 different things. I'm going to play it in different roles now. If I have students and we have students, so what all people as an educator should do, we have to focus on training and education. Let us start for training. For education, for example, I'll be very quick. Education, we have to focus on the students, and we have to focus on curriculum, and we have to change the curricula, and we have to make exchange programs, and we have to focus on the international education with the exposure, so people can expose to others and they can make training abroad. And I normally say to the people, you have to go for think global and act local. Remember other cultures and see your culture. Never ever neglect yours and neglect others, and this will be the way. As a people working in companies, this is the second part. because you are not just preparing students for nothing, you are preparing students to be in the marketplace, to be with the globe. And now it's an open market country, globe. The whole globe is working together, connected virtually, even though. So we need to prepare our organizations as well, and the people, employees and managers, to understand that there are different organization cultures in there, and others systems and other approaches, and all the study that we are doing, we are helping companies to go for this. The third one and the last one is the research that all people in the world do, including me and all other people. Every person focusing maybe in one country, other countries, and maybe multicultural researches. So we have to focus on these all things, because if we need really to go for diversity and inclusion, as all my colleagues said, as all the speakers and you at the beginning said, we have to focus on making the people move from the fixed mindset to changing mindset, to accept the changes and being able to implement it within the frame that will fit for the whole world, global wise. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much. So that kind of concludes. We need to wrap up too. So the golden nugget for more inclusion. What is the golden nugget for more inclusion? Because that's in the end what we want to achieve, right?
Yeah, right.
What do you think?
You need me to reply? Yeah, Wayne. Yeah, Wayne.
Okay, I'll go ahead. My closing comment, I caught the bus the other day overnight. It's about 500 kilometers. And I stood next to a guy that looked very mixed race. However, he spoke one of our local black languages very fluently. And I went to go speak to him. And I asked him where he lived. And he lived where we were going towards. And he had been in Johannesburg. He was going back home to work. His work was trading on the street. Okay, he was an orphan. He was in his 50s now. He had been raised with multiple families. He was fluent in a number of languages, but he sold wares on the side of the street about 100 kilometers where he lived, okay, for 30 years. I asked him what he was doing in Johannesburg. He had been in Johannesburg with his two 20-year-old sons. One was a chartered accountant and one was a lawyer. It was unbelievable what this man had single-handedly raised these boys and fought and overcome to create such an opportunity for his kids. Engaging with people and hearing their stories will teach us all. And after that, we will definitely leave prejudice at the door.
Yeah, fantastic. Hada?
Yeah, I'm just going to wrap up by one idea came to my mind in the morning. I was saying that we cannot see the world from the same culture frame. So what we need to do, we have to think from the whole angles. So I just wrote the word inclusion in front of me, and I started thinking what this word could be. So I just said the words, the letters I, N, and these words includes for me. I include everyone. You have to include everyone. And N and C, negotiate and communicate. L and U, learn and understand yourself and others. S, share values with your values with others. And I, involve all people and be engaged with these people. And O, go for being open-minded. N, which is the last one, never and no resistance. Don't ever think of resistance, accept the changes as we all are living together. So this is my message to all. We all are living together. We have to understand and respect and communicate with each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Heidi?
Because I am now in the mindset of reading for Robin Sharma, and he is actually talking about how to bring the genius. And I feel bringing the genius inside us, it's not far from what we're talking here. It's having a heartfelt sort of mindset or heart mindset. And it has actually a mindset right now. And learn faster by learning about each other's and our differences, how it's actually not limiting us, it's limitless. Having rituals and habits from different cultures and pick the ones which working brilliantly with us. Having a genius level of thinking and open our intellectual thinking by reading in different cultures, and as Wayne says and Ghada said, knowing different stories from different, it's actually extensive resources of genius. So bringing the genius through diversity, it's not a magic formula. We can have it via, remember the trick for this summit, diversity, intelligence. So I will leave you with diversity intelligence, because it is a must talent we should actually nurture step by step every day from now on. Thank you.
Yeah. That is a beautiful term, actually, diversity intelligence, because it includes quite a few other intelligence. And so thank you very much for your input. I can actually just kind of build onto this and agree with everything you said, that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can just learn how to include ourselves and then carry the message outside. So I would like to leave the panel with, or the audience, with one question. When we think about inclusion, and because diversity is all around us, so we think about inclusion, one of the trickiest things we all face when we work and live in a new, uncertain and highly complex so-called intercultural context, the trickiest thing is that we do not know what we do not know. So these are our blind spots, because we do think things as we are, not as they are. So this is our challenge. And in organization, that actually means that people are the biggest asset or liability. That all depends on their mindset and their intercultural, or now say diversity intelligence. So it depends on how well they understand themselves, how when they understand the ones they lead, serve, and work with. So thank you very, very much for your inputs. And I believe there are a couple of questions. Saloni, would you like me to post the questions to the panelists?
I would like to thank you all for the brilliant panel discussion and exchange of views. The picture itself looks so interculturally connected, seeing Mr. Baindy, you, Professor Gada, and Dr. Hadi on the screen. It was so beautiful. So we have a question here from Mr. Jim Taylor, which I would like to direct to you, Ms. Susan. How do you capture and then roll out experiential understandings, solutions from people who have worked many years with many countries, genders, cultures, religions? In many cases, the solutions remain unseen as experts won't try them.
Okay. Anyone on the panelists would like to answer this?
I can answer that, because I'm helping with some startup right now. So I'm helping some startup, actually youth of 15 and 16 years old, in starting their entrepreneurial journey. And I have this question from them, because they're starting in the time of COVID, which is really challenging time for them to cope with different teams. And this question actually led to different questions: how we build a strong connection virtually with them. And I actually keep advising them of having some teams sort of working sort of games online, and it's like scavenger hunts, like the cookie Saloni been talking about. It's really important element in team building to start show and tell. I know it may sound for people very babyish from school when we are in kinder, but it really builds authentic relationships. So having those authentic relationships, even about item or something around us in the space while we're doing our virtual meeting, it may lead actually to very rich discussion on a business level of $1 million. And it may actually click something in a businessman or a businesswoman mind who really will invest in your ideas, because he likes the way you approach him. He likes the way you sell your story. So this is my answer, and I hope I answered it well, Jim. I hope it's answered your question.
Yeah, Saloni?
Answer your question. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable time, everyone, and coming for this wonderful panel discussion. We really gained insights from this.